Welcome to SEM University. This month's topic is a tech topic, and we've chosen to feature the new SEM Traders blog. Now, before we get going, there's a couple housekeeping items. There's a Q&A on the right side. You can minimize it and pull it aside. That allows you to ask questions throughout the webinar. We are going to block out time at the end to ask questions, so feel free to ask questions throughout, and we will get to those at the end. The other thing that's really neat is you can pause and rewind the webinar as we get going. So if you have to step away, take a call or whatever, you can pause it and step right back in and see where we were at. Now, my name is Jeff Hybeck. I am the Chief Operating Officer at SEM, serving in this role. And obviously the Traders blog is something near and dear to my heart. It's something that has evolved over the years. From 2000 to 2007, my primary way of communicating with our advisors was just via monthly updates that we would email via PDF. And as we got into 2008, those monthly updates started turning into weekly, and then daily updates, and sometimes intraday updates as we had new news coming out. So the necessity to create a blog very quickly was there. So we created one as part of our old website, and it served its purpose. It was very clunky. It was hard to edit. It was hard to do things. And in 2016, Courtney, who is now our head of marketing, was just graduating from high school. She had done some things with the FBLA on digital marketing, and she, as a summer intern project, created semtradersblog.com, and that was leaps and bounds above what we had prior. That is the version most of you were used to until just last week, and we've made some tremendous improvements with this resource. It's something that, obviously, with where the market and the economy is during the coronavirus panic, has gotten heavily used. And that exposed some of the weaknesses of the old blog, primarily in how the back end worked, how Courtney and I were able to add posts to the blog, how slow it was. I think a lot of you noticed the slowness. And so at SEM, we're always about continuous improvement. We actually had this on the 2020 project list for Dustin and Courtney to work on. We accelerated that, obviously. And one thing before I turn it over is, at SEM, we are very grateful to tap into the millennial generation. I know sometimes they get a lot of bad press. A lot of people look down on their generation, and we've hired several high-performing millennials, and Courtney and Dustin are definitely two of them. And so we're very thankful to have them. We're going to switch roles here. Normally, Dustin is hosting the tech blog, and then I'll present. But today, I'm going to let Dustin Briles, he's SEM's Director of Technology, take over, because he's the one that actually created this and did all the back end stuff. So take it away, Dustin.
Thanks, Jeff. This is a little different. All the other webinars we've been doing the exact opposite. So I'm a little bit anxious, but also grateful and happy to be presenting on this one. So I'm just going to sort of jump right into this. You should be able to see up here on the screen that you see in the webinar, we have the Traders blog up right here. The first thing I'll do is show you how you might get to that from our main website. So if you go to semwealth.com, you let it load, you'll see here under blogs, and Wix has been a little bit slow, especially with the coronavirus stuff and everybody working from home. But you see here under blogs, you have the Traders blog and you have the tech blog. And we're talking about the Traders blog today, but there's also an SEM Technology blog that you can check out here. So if you were to click this link, it takes you to the Traders blog. So that's how you can get to it from our website. And one of the first things that you may have noticed, and Jeff mentioned this a little bit in his intro, was that it loads way faster. Like, I don't know if you were watching right now, but it just came up and that was it. There's no waiting. There's no, like little circle thing as it loads. It's just there. It's as you would expect a website to be. And that is in part because of what we did on the back end. I'm sure a lot of you are small business people and you're familiar with some website solutions such as Wix and Squarespace, things like that. We were on Wix before, and the new blog that you're looking at here is on a blogging platform called Ghost. And one of the consequences of that is that it loads quite a bit faster than Wix did. Another thing you'll notice is we rethemed the blog. It looks different, is what I'm trying to say. compared to the old blog. It's a little bit cleaner. We took that opportunity as well. Should be a little bit more intuitive to navigate as well. We were very purposeful about that when Courtney and I worked on this. So in a similar way to the last blog, the basic structure, I guess, is the same. We're here sort of in the middle, and on the left side you have a list of recent blog posts, and you can scroll down all the way, and it gives you, I think, 10, and then you can go through more pages. And then over on the right, you've got a sidebar with some more information. And so actually, I think we'll start with the sidebar. We'll just walk through it. So the first thing you'll see here is that SEM market update, all these market meters. That's brought over from the old blog as well. You'll notice it has a new look and feel to it as well. It looks a little cleaner, it's a little more modern looking. We'll scroll down a little bit. We have the about. That's pretty self-explanatory. It just explains what this blog is, why we created it, what it's about. You've got some follow links here. These are links to where you can find Jeff and/or SEM on social media. We've got Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and then there's an RSS feed if that's how you choose to consume your blogs. And then, like you might have seen on many other blogs, we've got a list of the most popular posts with links to them. We've got a list of the recent posts, and then we've got this list of common tags. And you can sort of think of tags as categories. That's a good way to think of it. And we just decided to put, I think it's 10 here, the 10 most common tags or categories on this blog. So you see Chart of the Week has 175 posts. That just means that there are 175 blog posts that are categorized as Chart of the Week. And what's cool about this is if you click on the link here, it'll take you to a list of all the blogs that are tagged as Chart of the Week. So that's kind of handy. You may find that useful. We have it in descending order here. So Chart of the Week is the most commonly tagged category. And as you scroll down, you can see the numbers get less and less. And if you're interested, you can click more down here, and that takes you to a list of every blog tag in use on the entire Traders blog. And similar to before, you've got the name or the category, and then in parentheses, how many blog posts use that category. And same as before, you can click here, and it'll take you to a list of all the things that are tagged as that category. And I think that takes care of the sidebar.
And that's one important note, though, is Courtney has gone back and added all of the old posts from smtradersblog.com. So we haven't lost any of that. The history, the most popular things like that transferred over. And we'll definitely be doing a much better job at tagging things to make it more relevant as we go forward. As you can see, I do like to talk about the Federal Reserve as one of the most common tags, but we will definitely make that a much more featured part of the blog now.
Yeah, and the newness of this, the modernness of this makes that easy. So let's look at the header now. We've got these links up here at the top. This is pretty nice. Some basic navigation cues, I guess you would call it here, is the one highlighted in this SEM orange color indicates where you are. So you'll notice if I click on newsletters here, newsletters is orange, so you know where you are. And on that note, the first 3 links that are not home, so newsletters, Chart of the Week, and presentations, are just links to the list of blog posts that correspond to those categories. So you'll see these are tagged as newsletter, these are tagged as Chart of the Week, these are tagged as presentations. And we put them up here on the header navigation just because we think that that's a lot of what people may be interested in if they want to go back and look at what Jeff has posted in history regarding these things. You've got a link to our risk questionnaire, risk.semwealth.com. And then after that's kind of an interesting one, you get nerd links. And this is kind of an interesting page. This is where you can see a lot of the sources that Jeff uses when he does his research. And it's public. You can click on these yourself. Anybody can go to this page. And I know he uses this a lot, and this was kind of an important page to him. What's also different about this page is you'll notice over here on the right side, the sidebar has changed a little bit. And all it has really changed is at the top, there's this Fred economic data plugin. It's just a little embed, which gives some information, nerdy stuff about how the market is doing. And I know Jeff thought that was really important. So it's right here available for you to see as well.
Yeah, that's kind of the dashboard of economic data that I look at every morning. And the nerd links is actually my homepage in every browser. So.
All right. So After that, you get basic blog stuff again. We've got a subscribe link, which that's interesting. Okay, MailChimp might be doing something weird. Normally it looks a little different than this. MailChimp might be having a bad day because this is just a MailChimp embed. But you can put in your email address and your name, click subscribe, and you'll get notifications when we do new blog posts on the Traders blog. And then above that, if you were to click contact up here, it'll just take you to the top of this page, and that gives you contact information for the East and West Coast offices, addresses, phone numbers, and then you get an easy access. Again, instead of on the sidebar, it's right here. The links to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, the RSS feed. And that pretty much takes care of what you see on the header here. So let's go and look at the actual posts themselves. So we'll start here in this little preview card. We will look at the bottom, and you see down here, this is what this post has been categorized as, and you'll notice that you can have a post categorized as multiple things. This most recent one is tagged as blog and COVID-19. So you would understand intuitively that this post is probably going to have something to do with COVID-19. And then over here on the right side of the card, these are actually share links for LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. So if you click on this, and if I was logged in, or I can choose to log in here, it just generates a share link, goes right to Facebook, and you can click that link and then just hit share, and now you've shared the blog post on your Facebook. And you could just as easily copy and paste the URL, but that's kind of a cool little shortcut. So let's go into the full blog post here. And the first thing you may notice here is at the top, it says 3 comments. The new blog post, as opposed to the old one, does support comments now. So if you have questions or want to comment on something, it's down at the bottom here. You can post anonymously. If you want to upload a picture, as I did here, this I think pretty funny meme that I stole from Cody in a separate group chat. If you want to upload images, you do have to be signed in though, and that's, I think, for obvious reasons. We don't want weird things being posted here, and we do moderate this as well, so we can take care of spam and all of that. But you can post anonymously, and Jeff will probably reply.
Yeah, I think that's one of the main things and the biggest improvements here is we want this to be a community of our advisors, our individual client readers, and just those who are visiting the site to be able to get a look into what we're seeing here at SEM, have a dialogue about what's happening, and that's something that I'm really excited about.
Yes, and I have comments on mine as well, so if you have super tech questions or just general questions about tech, I guess I have that as well. We think it's important to have that dialogue. Another thing that I think is really cool, and we concentrated on a lot, I'll scroll up to the top here, is that this blog is what we call fully responsive. And that just means that it looks good on any size screen that you have. So what I'm sharing with you is on my laptop right now, which is a smaller screen for computers, but I'll show you here using a little trick that I do when I develop stuff. So I'll minimize this. Here's what it would look like if you were on an iPhone X or XS. And you see the header links have collapsed into this hamburger menu. So if you were to tap on this, the links expand. And then as you scroll down, it's formatted, it looks good. The pictures are there, they've automatically resized themselves. It looks good, and this is the same blog on the iPhone X as you saw on my screen earlier on a laptop screen. And just for further proof, let's go to an iPad Pro. So this is a tablet now, and you'll notice that the header has again changed to 2 lines because you have a little bit more screen real estate to work with. And again, the images have resized, and it looks good on this particular screen. And that was really important to us because a lot of people are doing work, they're consuming news and media, not on their computers anymore, not on these big screens, whether that's how you choose to work normally, or if you're at home on the weekend and you're just doing some reading. I mean, we're all using our phones to look at websites, and so it's really important that it looked good on any size screen that you could consume this on. And so Courtney and I worked really hard on making sure that the color scheme would work, that the navigation would work, all of that. And so with that, I think that is covers the demo proper, and we can start to move into some Q&A unless you have something you want to say first, Jeff.
No, I say let's see what everybody else has to ask, and then I'll close it up.
All right. Let's see. So I have a question here. It says, why did you choose Ghost instead of something else like Squarespace or WordPress? And that is, that's a good question. So Ghost, first of all, I had set up my tech blog using Ghost a while ago. And I think Jeff saw the positive experience I had with that. It was easy, it was fun, I really enjoyed it. And so Ghost was a natural contender from the very beginning. Another reason is Ghost is an open source platform. And what that means is the Ghost application, I guess you would call it. You can go to their website, you can download it for free, you can run it on your server or on a VM in Azure, AWS, whatever. And you can modify the code. That's what it means by open source is when you download it, you also have the code and you can modify it and tweak it as you see fit. And philosophically, I agree with the open source philosophy quite a bit. I think that was important, so I wanted to support that. And though it is open source and you can host it on your own servers, the Ghost organization, they're a nonprofit organization, they have their own hosted solution. And we wanted to go with that because all the time that I would spend managing servers and updates and operating systems for a blog, I could spend doing other things. And so that is a paid thing. So we pay them, I think, $30 a month to host this thing. And we don't worry about updates. We just worry about making it look good and publishing content. So as a consequences of it being open source, and I'll get to this a little bit as I go through this as well, is that it is directed sort of at people who can code a little bit. Ghost is very sort of hackable, and I don't mean that in the security sense where like you're going to get compromised. I mean, like when we wanted a theme to do something, I could get in there and with my coding knowledge, I can make it do that thing. Whereas with Wix or Squarespace, you're locked into whatever they offer, which is nice sometimes, but we have more control over the blog theme and formatting compared to Wix or Squarespace.
And I'll just add, obviously Ghost isn't paying us for this, but I developed my first website in 1995 back when I was working for the University of Northern Colorado Alumni Foundation, where you did have to know HTML. So I still have a little background. Courtney got a little bit of background in school, but it's very easy if you have no HTML knowledge. Once it's set up, they have templates and things like that. So if you are looking to set up a blog, I wouldn't be afraid of the HTML editing because they make it very easy, similar to a Wix and everybody else. It's just nice because you can do so much more if you have even a little bit of tech knowledge.
Right. Yes, and we did consider WordPress because the WordPress is also open source, and there's a nonprofit organization. You can pay people to host WordPress as well. But honestly, Ghost was just a little bit more attractive. And WordPress, one thing that sort of turned me off from that is if you read up on WordPress a little bit, you'll notice that they've had a lot of issues with their security, and not WordPress itself necessarily, but a lot of the plugins end up getting hacked, and then the WordPress site or blog itself that you're hosting will get hacked. And it was just like, I think somebody described it as a dumpster fire is what their plugin environment is. And that's not necessarily WordPress's fault. In fact, it's not really their fault, but I didn't even want to mess with that. So we decided to go with Ghost. And the hosted version of Ghost was really easy to set up, like Jeff mentioned, and tied to our domain. You'll notice it's tradersblog.semwealth.com. Let's see. We have another question here. It says, I have a blog that I'm unhappy with. Would you recommend that I migrate to Ghost? And so I guess my answer would be maybe. If you're interested in just improving the look, feel, and organization of your blog, just sort of how it looks, you can really accomplish that on any blog platform. You can do that on Wix, you can do that on Squarespace, you can do that on WordPress, you can do it on any blog, really. Ghost is primarily targeted at people who don't mind writing a little bit of code, but long story short, the best way to decide is you can go to ghost.org and sign up for a free 14-day trial on their hosted platform and try it for yourself. Just so that I don't kind of give a cop-out answer, I'll give some pros and cons as well. On one hand, once you choose a theme, once you get the blog looking the way that you want it to look, as Jeff said, it's very easy after that. I mean, if not more so than other blog platforms. I know Jeff and I both definitely like the editor. It really gets out of your way. It makes it really easy to throw images or memes in there. And it's just really nice to use once you've got it configured and looking the way that you want. Really, at a high level, you choose a theme, configure whatever integrations you want, MailChimp, whatever, and then you write your content, and that's it. On the other hand, like I said, Ghost is primarily targeted at people who don't mind writing a little bit of code. So with Wix or Squarespace, you customize your theme by like dragging and dropping with your mouse. Like you just click and drag, and that's really nice. They call it a what you see is what you get editor. Ghost themes are not like that. If you want to modify the theme beyond just what header picture you're using or what icon you're using in the tab, you've got to write a little bit of code. And so there's a trade-off there. You can do more with it, but you've got to write a little bit of code. So I guess I would say if you like a certain Ghost theme as it is by default, and they have a big theme gallery, if you like how it is by default and you just want to swap out the header image with your own, then yeah, you can totally do it. You don't have to mess with coding at all, really. Or you could hire a web developer to make customizations if you like Ghost and you want to modify a theme a little bit. If you're in a small business, I would use caution here because unless you've got somebody on staff or the budget to hire a web developer, you may not want to commit to it because of those reasons. So, any other questions? Let me see. Can I send this to my clients?
Oh, I'll take that one. So everything we put on the blog is approved, and we assume it's in the public space so that we've already scrubbed it and said this is approved for SEM clients and potential investors and anybody else in the general public to read. Keep in mind though, SEM is a registered investment advisor with the SEC, so we have our own compliance. Your broker dealer, if you're affiliated with one, may have different rules on what you can and can't send to clients, but it meets all of SEM's compliance approval for them to view it. Same with any social media posts that we have out there that Courtney puts on our website. That's approved for you to show any of the clients according to SEM's rules, but always check with your broker dealer on their rules.
And I just thought of one right now. You'll notice the URL changed, tradersblog.semwealth.com. One thing you may be interested in is, well, what happens if I have the other one bookmarked, semtradersblog.com? And I'm showing you here on my screen. If you go there, it just simply redirects right to the home page here. We had some difficulty getting specific blog posts to redirect to that specific blog post on the new website, but it should be easy enough to find with the tags and a little bit of Control F if you're not familiar with that shortcut. So I don't see any other, let me just double check. I don't see any other questions, so I think that about covers it.
All right, thanks, Dustin. I'm going to just close it out. And one thing just to reiterate with this is we want the Traders Blog to be a resource for you being somebody who's a financial advisor, somebody who's interested in learning more about the market, somebody who's a client of SEM. Regardless of the audience, we want it to be a resource to know what's going on in the markets. And I know everybody is being bombarded at this point with information and projections and data and everything. And what we designed the blog to be is kind of that clearinghouse of, if it matters to the overall investment market and the economy, we're going to write about it. If it doesn't, we're just not going to discuss it. So it's kind of that filter. And way back when Courtney first started with us, she did a survey of all of the users of the blog, and she asked, how often would you like to have SEM post content? And as typical surveys work, 1/3 said every day, 1/3 said once a week, and another third said as often as necessary. So what we came down to was, okay, well, we'll satisfy the once a week people and we'll do chart of the week. Normally chart of the week is meant to be 3 to 5 paragraphs, something easy to digest, and we'll go from there. Well, obviously during the current crisis, I've had numerous blog content ideas because I read a lot. And so that's where the Monday morning musings has come in, and we'll keep that going as long as there seems to be interest in that. But that's the point. It's going to be at least once a week you're going to see new posts. You're also going to see content as often as necessary. So definitely subscribe if you want to stay tuned. Following us on social media, Courtney will do several posts throughout the week with blog content. And then just to put a plug into Dustin, he does have a blog, and his blog has been designed to also be for the tech community in general, so other tech nerds can share ideas. But he does have resources on there that are simple ones, like we've shared several times his phishing information. He's talked about creating the SEM risk questionnaire. So there's interesting posts, whether you're really into technology or not. He actually breaks it down into, what do they call technical content versus non-technical. So keep that in mind out there. And Dustin's a great resource for us. And most importantly, use the comments section and the social media posts, because we want this to be interactive. We don't want it to just be me typing up content. We want to get your feedback. If you have an idea for, hey, what's going on with oil prices, put it in the post, in the comments, and we'll, either I'll write a whole blog post, or I will go ahead and just answer in the comments there. So make it interactive. Most of all, thank you for using the blog. It's very exciting to add these new additions. We want it to be there as a resource. And thanks for tuning in. And I did see on our calendar, next month was also supposed to be a tech topic. So Dustin, Courtney, and I will kind of get together and decide what next month's SEM University will be. If you do have any suggestions, go ahead and try out the new comment section of the blog post, and we'll try to come up with some ideas that can add value. So thank you, and as we've been saying too often lately, stay healthy.